One of the beautiful pieces which we're on tonight, Siyum HaRambam, none other than, doesn't need an introduction, was written in HaRambam, Rabbi Moshe Moscowitz.
The Rambam passed away in 1204. Shortly afterwards, they burnt Mar Nevuchim, and they did it in public. And it was basically the Balei Taisvis who did it. And they did it, I think, in Paris. 40 days later, they burnt Gemaras over there. And that was from the Gentiles that did it. They said, well, if you could burn the Rambam, so let's burn the Gemaras. Going further, in the time of the Alter Rebbe, they burnt the Tanya. And the Alter Rebbe wrote, it already happened before that they burnt the Sfarim of the Rambam. Any great leader makes waves. Any great leader makes people uncomfortable. That's what makes them a great leader. And they're not afraid to do that. Years later, in 1984, the Lubavitcher Rebbe, a great leader, a visionary, also made waves. And he said to learn Rambam. Nobody did it before. As mentioned before, you use the Rambam to start a pilpul. That's what it was made for, according to them. Comes along a Rosh Hashiva from Torah Vidas, and he goes to Miami, and he meets a great Rosh Hashiva. I can mention his name, Rabbi Shapiro, and he talks about this takana of the Rebbe, or the Gzeira, perhaps. He would call it the Gzeira, and says, what kind of business is this? Just look at the first 4 prakim of the Rambam. That's not what you call Torah. Anyone who learns Rambam could feel for him if he looks at these first 4 prakim. Rabbi Shapiro answered him, and is that the reason that the Rambam titled it Hilchis Yesodei HaTorah? These are the foundations of the Torah. Yesodei Yesodis V'Amud HaChachmos. So, in a sense, the Rebbe saw also the burning of the Rambam. He noticed it. And he says, I have to do something about it. Just like years before in the 13th century, it was the Ramban who came along. And the Ramban was the one to convince everybody, you know something? Don't burn the Mar Nevuchim. But I want to tell you a secret. Not only was the Mar Nevuchim burnt, there was one other sefer that was burnt. And what was that sefer? Sefer Hamada. Together with Mar Nevuchim, they burnt Sefer Hamada. And that's what the Ramban came along and said, Ma toimru l'Sefer Hamada. What are you going to say? Meila Mar Nevuchim. What are you going to say about Sefer Hamada? Do you understand what Sefer Hamada is all about? So, due to lack of time, I'm not going to go into this at length, but I'm going to forge ahead to the beginning words of the Rambam. Yesod ha-yesodes v'amud ha-chokmas, leida sheyesh sham matzui rishon. That the foundation of all foundations and the pillar of all pillars is to know that there is one being, one first being. So knowing the history of the Rambam, Rabbi Yarmov made a mistake. He says, I'm a Baki in Rambam. I'm not a Baki in Rambam. I know about Sfarim. I don't know Sfarim. So I know a lot about Sfarim. So somebody who knows about the Rambam, not just from Mishnah Torah, but also from Mishnah Torah, knows that the Rambam fought many battles. One of the major battles was against the Karaim, but another major battle was a battle against Hakshamas HaBayrei, putting any physicality into the Eibishter, saying that the Eibishter has a physical form, to such an extent that the third of the Yud Gimel Ikarim is against that. The third one against Hakshamas HaBayrei. To such an extent that the beginning of Meir Nevuchim, the Rambam writes over there, he gives you a dictionary in order that you look at different words, and mus or things like that, and you shouldn't think to yourself that it means taken literally. That's the beginning of Meir Nevuchim. So comes along the first words of the Rambam, and we know how meticulous the Rambam is in his wording, and he's saying, Yisoida, Yisois, Vamuda, Chacham, Leda, Sheyesh Matzim Rishon would have been perfect. You have the Rosh Tevis of the Eibishter's name, Yud Kei Vav Kei. What is this additional word Sham all about? That person who is fighting the battle against Hakshamas HaBayre, he's the one to insert the word Sham. When you say there is there, you're pointing us to a specific place. So what's that all about? The letter that you saw before that the Rambam wrote, saying how busy he was, that was to Shmuel ibn Tibun. Shmuel ibn Tibun was the translator of Meir Nevuchim. He translated into Hebrew. The problem is, when it comes to philosophy, so the best language is Arabic, not Hebrew. So he had to write a dictionary at the end. And the dictionary at the end of Meir Nevuchim is called Pirush Mila Zaras. So when it comes to the word Sham, he talks about Yisoida, Yisois, Vamuda, Chachmas, Leda, Sheyesh Sham, Matzui Rishon. And what does he say over there? He says this word is a little problematic, this word Sham. And he concludes, I'm making it very brief, he concludes that Sham is not a Hebrew word. Sham is an Arabic word. Now you think about it, in English also, how do you say there is? You say there is. There means Sham. How do you say in Yiddish? Es is da. How do you say in French? The same way. So he concludes that the Rambam does this throughout Mishnah Torah, and actually I did a search, and 20 times the Rambam does it throughout Mishnah Torah. He inserts the word Sham, just like we say there is. So that's his answer. The Kesef Mishnah comes along, and the Kesef Mishnah writes over there, alludes to Shmuel ibn Tibun, and he's not satisfied with that. That answer, Shmuel ibn Tibun, is the correct answer. Just like it says when it comes to the fast, that you should fast, he adds the word Sham over there. There are, Yesh Sham adds it. So that is the correct answer. However, the Kesef Mishnah, Moran Harav Yosef Kara is not satisfied. Why is he not satisfied? Just like we're not satisfied. The Rambam is so meticulous in every single word, and he's going to add a word, Sham, just because that's the way you talk. The Rambam calculates every single word he says. So what's this business? And with this I'll conclude. The Kesef Mishnah answers an incredible answer. And he says, the reason is, you could say, is because the Rambam wanted to tell us that the Eibishter gefindt sich, and he says it in Yiddish, by the way. I'm just joking. The Eibishter gefindt sich in jeder art. Hashem is in every single place. Kidefsiv Malay Chol Haaretz Kevaydai. That's how he finishes. Malay Chol Haaretz Kevaydai. So what's pshat over there? What does he mean to say? So perhaps, not perhaps, I think what the Rabbi Yosef Kara is saying, Malay Chol Haaretz Kevaydai, he's saying that you may think to yourself that you're in Germany, you're flying over here, and the Eibishter is not over there. You should know, wherever you are, you're in a Sham, wherever you are, whatever place you are, that's where Matzui Rishon is. In any situation, Sham, that is where the Eibishter is. How deep that is. So perhaps we could go one more step in this. And that is what the Rebbe brought over here. And the Rebbe, through doing his mitzvah of learning Rambam and preventing the destruction of the Rambam, what the Rebbe also taught us when he's saying Sikhs in the Rambam, he explained to us, in every halacha, you just dig a little deeper, Yesh Sham Matzui Rishon. You look into the halacha, you may think to yourself, he's only talking about Tumah and Tahara, he's talking about very mundane things. So the Rambam is telling you, in my Sefer Halachas, Yisoidais, start with the Eibush, starts with the Eibishter. And it finishes with the Eibishter, Kimol Artzdeas Hashem. However, in between are many, many halachas. And I want to tell you, Yesh Sham Matzui Rishayim.